Housing crash, housing crisis. Housing is completely unaffordable to the first home buyers or the younger generations. Alternative affordable housing now includes living in a dumpster. This is how you too can become Oscar the Grouch from Sesame Street. So I want to come at this from a different angle. All the mainstream media are talking about the median house prices and the median incomes when it comes to housing affordability. I'm going to come in from the angle of where does it become possible? And to do that, we're going to be looking at the three capital cities along the east coast of Australia: Sydney, Melbourne and Brisbane. Now, I'm going to show you what the minimum you need to be earning by yourself or with a partner is to buy the cheapest house on the market, so that way we can answer the question, can you earn enough to buy a house? If after this video you are below the minimum incomes that I'm about to show you, make sure you hit the like button on this video to help me out first, but subscribe to my channel so over time I can help you out by showing you ways to get over them income bumps and get ahead of the curve. So before I show you the three properties, I just need to set up the criteria. Mortgage stress will be determined by mortgage repayments exceeding 30% of salary before tax and super deductions. We will be factoring loans with a 10% deposit. The reason for this is that's the starting grade for standalone acceptance. The 5% deposits generally require a guarantor from a rich mummy and daddy putting their assets on the line, which not everyone has, or a government program which may not be available to everyone. So standard 20% is also not going to be used because, spoiler alert, that pushes the deposit required into the six-figure range. We're looking for if it's possible to get into home ownership, not how to skip LMI and reduce total interest over a loan term. As we're doing the 10% deposit, we'll be factoring in stamp duty to the loan and an estimated lender's mortgage insurance. And the property needs to be a standalone house. Not a duplex, not a townhouse, not a triplex, just a standalone house. Something that Daryl Kerrigan would say is someone's castle. This also removes out any extra body, corporate or strata fees. And we're going to exclude any government first home buyer incentives, as once again, not everyone qualifies. And the property also needs to be within a 1 hour drive to the CBD of the city. For expenses, the assumption we will make is that you have been knuckling down and living it tight to make the accounts look really good to the lender. This does not include your current rent, but it will include your food, bills and entertainment. So for a single person, we'll make an assumption of $400 per week. And for couples, we can assume in an average of $600 per week to cover the two. So now let's look at our first lovely home in Sydney. We have a 4-bedroom, 1-bathroom in Lethbridge Park. Asking price is $630,000 reduced because it's location, 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 baby. The real estate agent has it listed as close proximity to the Mount Druitt train station. It's probably the last thing you want to draw attention to on a listing, really, but that you're going to be surrounded by gangs of those little ratty Eshe kids coming on and off trains. But regardless, this is your foot in the door to the Sydney property market. So let's run the numbers. $630,000 is for the property, $26,200 covers stamp duty, conveyancing, and your bank setup fees for the loan. Lender's mortgage insurance is about $10,900 based off the 90% loan to value ratio. So for simple math, we will round the full cost of the property purchase to $667,000, meaning 10% deposit is $66,700. So using the Commonwealth Bank borrowing calculator, if it's just you, yourself, you're lonesome, you, me and I, just going for it by yourself, you're going to need an income of $127,000 per year before tax to get the loan. The mortgage repayment is going to be $3,966 per month without any special circumstances after super and taxes deducted. An individual on 127K are left with $7,064 per month. Subtract out the mortgage repayments. That means that 56% of your take-home pay is going to the mortgage. the mortgage repayment is 37% of the total pre-tax and super income, immediately putting the individual to mortgage stress for taking out the loan. For a couple, they need to be earning $66,000 each. They both together immediately enter mortgage stress for taking out the loan, and it is 36% of their combined pre-tax and super income. If one of the two stops working, the income of the remainder is not enough to service the mortgage, putting them at risk of default. So if you haven't found your little love dove and you want to take out a property on your own, if you aren't earning 120K per year, you can't even afford one of the worst houses in Lethbridge Park. Let that sink in for a moment. Feels like acid, doesn't it? Burning away at the skin. What a good feeling. So the next cab off the rank is Melbourne. It's on the edges. A suburb we're looking at is on the edges. We're going to be looking at a suburb called Werribee. This is a 3-bedroom brick house that can be picked up for as little as $510,000. Stamp duty, conveyancing and bank fees come in at $26,400. LMI is in at $8,800. Total cost, $545,000 roughly. The 10% deposit means just over $54,000. So your loan is just under $491,000. Now, for an individual, you would need to be earning close to $103,500 per year to reach your borrowing capacity for this loan. Repayments would be $3,200 per month roughly, and after super and tax, this works out to 55% of your take-home earnings. Again, total earnings, this is 37.5% once put against your total revenue, immediately putting you into mortgage stress. For the Melbourne Love Doves, entry points to service this loan means that they would both need to be earning $54,500 per year. Once again, if one of them loses their income, the other does not earn enough to service the loan, putting them at risk of default. Their mortgage repayments are 35% of their combined total income, putting the couple immediately under mortgage stress for entering the loan. And for our final city on the east coast of Australia, Brisbane. And we are following the rules laid out that it must be within a 1-hour drive to the CBD. And some of you know where I'm going to go with this one. Where is somewhere affordable? An hour drive to Brisbane. Well, you got it. Land of the free, home of the brave, Caboolture. Here we have this lovely 3-bedroom, 1-bathroom, high-set home. The going once, going twice, going 3 times price is only $349,000. And I feel for the agent who had to write the ad copy for this listing. They had to put in movement taking place on Morayfield Road, meaning there's some roadworks happening. So at least if you're looking out your window, it's like, yeah, on the bright side, they are filling in them potholes. To try fill out the listing further, they added, there's a functional kitchen. Well, mate, I'm sold. A working oven, how fancy. The focus of this video though is to determine if it's possible for home ownership, not to just fucking rip Caboolture. I could do a standalone video on that. I love Caboolture, but I also love ripping it. But it's to understand how much you need to earn to make your dreams come true as a property owner. Property price is $349,000, stamp duty, conveyancing, bank fees, $7,100, LMI, $5,800. Total comes in at $361,900. The 10% deposit is $36,190, meaning that our aspiring first home buyer needs to get a loan for $325,710. So, for an individual, they would need to earn $67,000 per year. Their mortgage repayments would be $2,143 per month, which would be 52% of their take-home pay, or 38% of their total income before super and tax, meaning that once again, they are deemed in mortgage stress for taking out the loan. For our adorable lovebirds settling down in their bright future, the minimum amount they would need to earn is $38,600 each, or combined $77,200. Now, for the first time, if one of them loses their job, they can continue to pay the mortgage, but the mortgage would be consuming 82% of their take-home salary, leaving with $450 a month for food and bills. If both are working, the mortgage is 33% of their combined income before super and tax, putting them over the 30% threshold. Once again, the loan puts them in mortgage stress. So I just wanted to give everyone the idea of what the state of affair is for the minimum entry into the property markets for each of these cities. I think the mainstream media and the government deliberately, how do I put this? I think they're deliberately muddying the waters now that interest rates are raising and are in full swing. They don't want the average Australian to figure out the state of crisis that we're currently in. The government will ignore this because they want to win points come the next election, and they think that we're too stupid to figure out how bad it is. So if you muster up every Australian that's working and then put them in a straight line and pick the bloke right in the middle, the median income is about $65,000. So on what we know now, that means that half the country, if they are single, does not earn enough to get a loan for a house in any of these capital cities unless they save up higher than the 10% deposit, which will take even further years to achieve as inflation eats their purchasing power and houses continue to slowly rise up in price against stagnant wages. There's a real risk of house prices continuing to outpace the savings rate of people trying to gather their deposits. So for our example, in Sydney, we had the couples earning $66,000 each. So off those numbers, if the median is $65,000, half the couples in this country could not afford to buy a house next to Mount Druitt train station without taking out a higher deposit. So half the country's income doesn't support the minimum entry point to buy a house where you are surrounded by those little ratty Eshe kids going, "Give us your data, we stab ya." You can't afford that. You can't. And just remember that these were the houses right down the bottom at the cheapest. If you want a nicer house or a house closer to the city, prices go up significantly. Just as an example, this house in Greenacre, Sydney has a guide on it for auction around $1,150,000. So in Sydney, this is significantly cheaper than most other properties. So if it was just yourself and you were doing a 10% deposit, you would need to have an income of $247,000 per year to be approved for the loan. Or if you're going to be going for it with a spouse, you would both need to be earning $113,000 per year, or a combined total of $226,000 just to scrape in for the loan. Now, to beat you all in the comments, yes, there are townhouses, duplexes, units, which are generally cheaper to buy than a house. But keep in mind, on top of the capital to pay off the building and the interest, you also have to add in the extra cost of body corporate fees. They can easily add an extra $600 to $1,200 per month on top of the other costs. And most of the units, townhouses and duplexes were more expensive than the houses we looked at today. The point of this video was to show the entry point for a house in these cities. But leave your thoughts in the comments. Banks and brokers are deliberately giving loans to put people in mortgage stress. More than half the country would be in mortgage stress from the most entry-level house in Sydney. Now, if you're below the income levels mentioned in this video, make sure you subscribe, because I'm going to take you on a journey over the next few months to get above them. I think that there is a huge problem here for first home buyers, but leave your thoughts in the comments and I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.